In this video, let's look at the combinators selectors in CSS. So let's take a look. Over here, I've created a simple little page. I have the header section in which I have the website name inside a div, and I have a nav element, and inside I have a list of different links that my website will have. And you see it shows up over here. Now next I have the main section. The main section has one section element. Inside I have h1 and a paragraph. So basically this particular section is what you see over here. All right. Then I have a separator and a horizontal rule and some long information, let's say a lot of content for the website, right? So that's over here. So this is all of it in the main section. After the main section, I have the footer element, and inside the footer element I have the small element, which basically makes the font size a little bit smaller, and I have the copyright information over here. So that is what we have. So now let's take a look on how to use the combinators, the different selectors we have, to actually uniquely target specific elements and make styles on it. Now, one thing to note is that 90% or 99% of the time, you're going to be using the basic selectors. Those are the more common ones. Actually, the top three ones are the most common ones. Even the asterisk and the attribute selectors are not as common. And sometimes you're going to be using the combinators, not a lot of times. So it's okay if you skip this section, but if you want to be a professional, you do not want to skip it because you want to know the different options that you have. Okay, so with that said, let's look at the first particular combinator selector. So I'm going to zoom in over here. And the first one is the plus identifier. So you have one selector and the second selector, and then what it does, it actually selects the second selector next to the first one. So let's take a look. So over here, I have these multiple links over here, right? So what is common in the HTML world is, let's say, you're on the home page of a website, or maybe the about page, or maybe the contact page. Doesn't matter which page you're on. The link which you're on is usually colored in a different color or different style. It's usually highlighted some way just to tell the users that you are on that page. So let's say if you're on the home page over here, usually what happens is that there's a class on that particular element, and the class usually is called active. That really means that, okay, this particular page is active. So let's come over here in our styles, and I'm just gonna style this active element. So I'm gonna just say color, or let's say background color, to be, let's pick a different color. Chocolate. All right, save, refresh, and you see the background color is there. Perfect. Now, let's say if I want to select an element which is directly next to whatever selector, which is in our case active selector. What do? I use the plus identifier. So I say dot active plus, and then let's say the A element. So select an element A which is directly next to this particular element, whichever element with a class of active. So I'm going to come over here and say, let's say in this case, the background color is dark cyan. Save, refresh, and you see this about element, which has nothing unique on it, it's just a link, is highlighted as that particular style. All right, so now let's look at the second selector that we have in combinators, which is the tilde sign over here. Now this is actually more general than the direct sibling. This means that select all the siblings. So let's say if I want to select all of the siblings of this particular active element, so the siblings are the elements which are on the same level, under the same parent. So this is the parent, and these are all the children, right? So let's say I want to put a particular style on all of them. Let's say I want to make it bold, right? So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say dot active tilde and then the A. So all the A elements which are next are the siblings of the active element. And I'm going to say font size or font weight, let's say bold. Save, refresh, and you see all of these are bolded and the home one is not, because the home one is actually not a sibling of itself. The home one is just the active element, and all the A siblings of this particular one are actually bolded. All right, perfect. Now let's take a look at this direct child one. So let's say if we are on our website again, and we have this section, which is the main section. The main section, in essence, has two P elements. One is a direct child, so this is child number 1 for main, this is child number 2, and this is child number 3. So direct childs, the children of main element, right? So in essence, it has 3 children. One of them is P, but actually it has one more grandchild, which is a P element over here, which is inside this section. So main, then section, and inside section, that's P. So let's say if we have to style all the P elements to be the same way inside the main element. So what do? We just use a space. So we say main space, and all the P elements, or whichever selector you want, it could be anything with the class as well, it doesn't matter. So selector, the first selector, which is main, and space P, that means all the P elements inside main should have this particular style, whatever I'm going to write over here now. So let's say I'm going to say color is green. All right, save and refresh, and you see all the P elements, which are only 2 in this case, inside main only, are actually color green. So that is the one I showed you over here, parent descendant. All right, but then you say, okay, no, we don't want all of them to be green. Let's say I want the direct child of the main element. So direct child is this one, which is P. We want the P element, which is a direct child of main, to be, let's say, underlined. All right, just the direct child, not all of them. So for direct child, we're going to actually use this greater than sign, like such. All right, so we're just going to create one more. I'm going to say main direct child P should be, let's say, text decoration underline. Save, refresh, and you see only this P element, which is a direct child of main, is underlined. So that does it for this video. I showed you all the combinators selector. These are, again, not extremely common, but if you want to uniquely target certain elements in your application, you can do it like such. So play around with that, and I'm going to talk to you in the next video.